Hey everyone, this is Mr. Cinna Hunter here. Today, we're diving into a newly released epic science fiction adventure film called Avatar: Fire and Ash. So sit tight and let's begin this incredible journey. At the beginning of the story, the two brothers, Loak and Neytiri, are seen flying through the sky on banshees. After flying for a while, they land on the ground. Loak then tells his older brother, Neytiri, that he has to leave. Before he goes, Neytiri asks him how he died. Loak explains that they both went to save Spider, and during that time, Neytiri was shot. That is how he lost his life. Neytiri responds that, in the end, they were at least able to save their brother Spider. For that reason, he tells Loak not to feel sad about it. Loak then hugs his brother and says that he loves him very much. Later, it is revealed that Loak was actually connected to the spirit tree underwater and had been speaking to Neytiri's spirit the entire time. He then blames himself for his brother's death, and this pain is something he will have to carry for the rest of his life. Spider sees all of this from above the water. Then he climbs up and tells Kiri that if he were Na'vi, he could have talked to his brother as well. Kiri replies that she wants to do the same, but the last time she tried to connect with the spirit tree, she lost consciousness. Hearing this, Spider begins teasing Kiri. Meanwhile, Neytiri is overwhelmed with grief over the death of her son. On the other hand, Sully begins recovering various weapons from the wreckage of the Sea Dragon ship that had sunk during the previous battle, because he knows very well that humans could attack them again at any moment. Loak and his girlfriend Sireya are also seen assisting Jake in gathering the weapons. After finishing the recovery of the weapons, they return to the shore. Loak then picks up a gun and hands it to Spider. Holding the gun, Spider says, "With these, we can take down many sky people." At that moment, Ronal, the wife of the Metkayina clan leader, arrives and scolds her daughter Sireya, telling her to move away from there. Jake then takes a gun and shows it to the Metkayina clan leader Tonawari. Seeing the weapon, Tonawari says that this is not the Na'vi way. Ronal speaks up, saying that the use of metal weapons is forbidden to them and that Eywa will show them another path. She scolds Jake further, saying, "The entire community is mourning, yet instead of grieving, you are collecting these cursed things. You should be spending time with your wife during this difficult moment." Jake replies that his eldest son was buried in that very place. That is why this place is like home to him, and he wants to stay there to protect his family. However, they cannot fight the sky people with only bows and arrows. To defeat them, they need advanced weapons. Tonawari responds, "We managed to bring down the demon ship, so humans are afraid of us now." Jake replies, "We defeated them last time by sheer luck, but don't assume luck will always be on our side." Tonawari then says, "Instead of guns, we need the sky beast, the great Toruk. You must fight again as Toruk Makto." But Jake tells him that he will never ride Toruk again. On the other hand, it is revealed that Captain Mick Scoresby has survived, despite losing one of his arms during Pyakon's attack in the previous battle. Meanwhile, General Francis and Miles Quaritch continue searching for Jake and his family. Here, Miles asks Francis for another ship, as he is determined to kill Jake at any cost. However, Francis angrily rejects his request, saying, "You were already given a massive ship and a large number of soldiers, yet you still failed to kill him. Because of your actions, all my soldiers died, and the ship sank as well." But Miles tells her, "It's not as simple as you think. Killing them is a difficult task, but I won't stop until I capture Jake." Meanwhile, Jake makes an arrow using a missile and gives it to Neytiri. He also asks her to use her father's bow. However, Neytiri is extremely upset because she is angry with Ronal, who constantly speaks against them. Jake then tells her, even if they wanted to, they wouldn't be able to understand our current situation. Since Neytiri is still grieving the loss of her son, Jake tries to comfort her. Meanwhile, Loak and all his siblings, including Spider, were enjoying themselves with Pyakon. After spending some time having fun at the bottom of the sea, they surface. Then Kiri says, "Even after saving all of us, Pyakon has been cast out of the Tolkun's clan." Sireya explains that, since many Tolkun were killed in the last battle, the blame was placed on Pyakon. but Loak promises Payakan that he will never leave him. One day, while Spider was lying down with everyone, he suddenly struggles to breathe because the oxygen in his mask runs out. His mask is quickly replaced, and he feels some relief. This happens to him quite often, requiring his mask to be changed each time. Because of this, Jake instructs his children to keep an eye on Spider and take care of him. However, it appears that Neytiri still doesn't like Spider. A few days later, people from the Wind Clan arrive there. They journey through the skies in airships, aided by various creatures, and live aboard these vessels. They roam all across Pandora for trade, visiting different settlements to conduct their business. Now, they have come to the Water Clan to trade with them as well. Jake then speaks with the leader of the Wind Clan and arranges for Spider to be brought onto their ship. After that, he tells his entire family that he has decided to send Spider back to their old forest with the Wind Clan because they don't have enough oxygen masks. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't keep Spider here for long. After hearing this, not only Spider but all the children become extremely angry. Kiri, in particular, places all the blame on her mother Neytiri because she has never liked Spider and cannot tolerate humans at all. Because of this, Kiri believes that she is trying to send Spider away. However, Jake calms everyone down and decides that they will all go to the forest. After that, they all board the ship, bid farewell to the people of the Water Clan, and set off toward their forest. While traveling, Jake and Neytiri patrol the area by riding their banshees to prevent any attacks from the Sky People and the enemy clans. After a long journey, they finally reach close to the forest. However, Miles becomes aware of their arrival. When Miles and his mate Lyle begin monitoring Jake's ship with the help of drones, Miles also spots his son Spider, which makes him extremely happy. Meanwhile, just as the Wind Clan's ship is about to enter Jake's forest territory, they are suddenly attacked by the Fire Clan's warriors. Upon noticing this, Neytiri warns everyone. Jake quickly readies his weapons and instructs Loak to keep an eye on his siblings. He then mounts a banshee and starts firing at the Ash People. On the other hand, Neytiri keeps firing arrows to fend off the Ash People's attack. Loak hands a bow to Spider and, while riding a banshee, attempts to shoot at the attackers. However, when one of them fires an arrow toward him, it misses Loak but strikes his banshee instead, causing the creature to be injured and fall down. Meanwhile, the Ash People's assault sets several parts of the ship ablaze. As a result, Spider and the others work together to put out the flames. Suddenly, an Ash warrior boards their ship and attacks them, but Spider somehow manages to fight him off with his bow. Meanwhile, a few Ash warriors attempt to breach the upper section of the ship. At that moment, Jake arrives and starts shooting at them. Watching from above, Varang, the leader of the Ash People, sets one of his men on fire and blasts the ship's roof. To avoid the explosion, Jake leaps and barely catches a rope hanging below. Varang then approaches from behind and shoots an arrow that strikes Neytiri. Despite her injuries, Neytiri tries to fight back against Varang. After a brief struggle between them, Varang strikes Neytiri again and knocks her down, causing her to fall unconscious. Meanwhile, as fire spreads around the ship, Spider, Kiri, and Took manage to escape by riding a banshee. Along the way, they pick up Loak, and together they watch as the ship becomes completely engulfed in flames and crashes to the ground, killing many people of the Wind Clan. At one point, a Fire Clan member shoots at their banshee, injuring it, which forces the banshee to land in a part of the forest with all 4 of them on board. During this time, Spider informs Loak that his masks were left behind on the ship and that the oxygen in his current mask is almost depleted. Hearing this, Loak decides to return to the ship with Spider. But at one point, while staying hidden, they witness the Fire Clan members brutally killing the Wind Clan people one by one. They also see the Fire Clan leader, Varang, using her Q, known as the Kuru, to torture the Wind Clan people until death, and then severing their Kurus afterward, an act considered worse than death for the Na'vi. Seeing this, Loak and Spider become filled with anger. Just as Loak is about to target Varang to shoot, a Fire Clan member spots them. Realizing the danger, they quickly retreat and escape with Kiri and Took. The Ash People then start chasing them from behind, trying to catch all 4 of them. While running, Loak falls to the ground, and at that moment, 2 members of the Fire Clan jump on him, but Loak fires at them just before they can attack and moves a little away from there. After that, to escape the Fire Clan, they dive into a river and are carried by the current to another part of the forest. After reaching the shore, Spider tells them that his mask is about to run out of oxygen. They must somehow get the mask immediately. So, Loak decides to take the risk once again and retrieve Spider's mask. Meanwhile, as Jake searches for them, Miles and Lyle appear from behind, attack him, and take him captive. Miles then asks Jake who did this to them. Jake replies, "They are the Ash people. They attacked us to loot the Wind Clan's ship and caused this situation. Spider's mask was left on that ship, putting his life in danger. If you want to save Spider, you'll have to help me." Thinking about Spider's safety, Miles takes Jake with him, and together they set out to find Spider. Meanwhile, the oxygen in Spider's mask is almost gone, and he can no longer stand. So, Loak picks him up on his shoulders and starts walking. After walking for some time, Spider's oxygen completely runs out, and he collapses to the ground. Kiri then starts crying and begs Eywa for help to save Spider. Loak lifts Spider into his arms and starts moving toward the wrecked ship. Just then, a flower from the Tree of Souls appears in front of Kiri. She stares at it for a moment and then tells Loak to place Spider on the ground. Though reluctant, Loak puts Spider down. Kiri connects her kuru to a branch lying on the ground. Then she plucks a seed from the flower and places it inside Spider's mouth. Surprised, Loak asks Kiri why she is doing this. Kiri says that she doesn't know why, but she feels she has to do it. Kiri then holds Spider for a while and begins praying to Mother Eywa. As a result, the surroundings light up, and the branches on the ground form connections with Spider's body. Kiri then tells Loak to remove Spider's mask. After some time, Kiri becomes weak, and Loak disconnects her kuru from the branch. Kiri then breaks down in tears, thinking that Spider has died, because she was not sure whether what she did would save him. However, to everyone's surprise, Spider recovers and is able to breathe on Pandora without an oxygen mask. Spider himself is shocked when he realizes this, and at first thinks that he might have died and gone to the spirit world. But Loak tells him that he is alive and still on Pandora with them. Hearing this, Spider becomes overwhelmed with joy and hugs Kiri, thanking her for saving his life. By then, members of the Fire Clan arrive and capture them. Varang takes Loak's machine gun and examines it with great curiosity. She then slaps Spider across the face and asks him, "How can you breathe in our environment without a mask?" Kiri replies, "Because it is Mother Eywa's will." Hearing this, Varang becomes extremely angry. She grabs Spider by the throat and says, "If I kill him right now, will Eywa be able to bring him back to life?" Kiri replies, "No." Upon hearing this, Varang says, "Then your mother Eywa has no power at all." Saying this, she takes the weapon and asks Loak how it works. Loak tells her that the bullets inside the gun are already empty, so it can no longer be fired. Hearing this, Varang becomes furious once again and orders Tuk to be killed, and at that very moment, Jake attacks the Fire Clan members from behind. Meanwhile, Miles points a gun at Varang's head and takes her hostage. With their leader captured, the remaining members of the Fire Clan are forced to lower their weapons. However, Varang cleverly connects her kuru to Miles's kuru before he can react and tries to overpower him. At the same time, the Fire Clan members capture Jake and the others as well, but Miles manages to break Varang's connection from his own kuru. This shocks Varang greatly, as it has never happened to her before. She realizes that Miles is mentally very strong and becomes impressed by him. Varang then picks up a gun and tells Miles, "Show me how to use this." Miles teaches her how to operate the weapon. After learning how to use firearms, Varang and her people become extremely excited. Soon after, Varang points the gun at Miles and says, "I don't need you anymore," and takes him hostage as well. Varang's men then bring Jake, Miles, and the others to a certain area and tie them up. At that moment, they notice Varang making her people consume a strange substance and hypnotizing them by showing the mark on her hand. Seizing the opportunity, Kiri connects herself to several poisonous plants nearby. She then controls the plants and uses their toxic thorns to kill several of Varang's soldiers. After that, they all manage to escape from there. When Varang realizes what has happened, she begins searching for them relentlessly. Meanwhile, Neytiri somehow manages to return to the high camp by riding her banshee. Seeing Neytiri injured, her people quickly take her to the lab for treatment. After a while, when Neytiri regains consciousness, she tries to rush out to save her children. Her people ask her, "Where are they?" But Neytiri cannot say anything because she does not know where they are now. On the other hand, Jake, Miles, and the children cross a swamp and reach a safe place. After running for a long time, all four of them lie down on the ground and fall asleep. Miles then challenges Jake to fight him. Jake replies that they are all injured right now, so it would not be right to fight at this moment. Understanding Jake's words, Miles asks him about Spider's current condition. Jake tells him that Spider is living very well with all of them. He further tells Miles that this planet holds many unknown mysteries, and today he witnessed one of them with his own eyes, so he should never think that he can harm Jake and his family. Ignoring Jake's words, Miles says that none of this matters to him. He only wants to capture all of them and make them prisoners. The next morning, Neytiri arrives there with her people. Before they can see him, Miles quietly slips away from the place. Reunited with her children, Neytiri becomes overwhelmed with emotion. Norm and the others are astonished when they see Spider without his mask. Meanwhile, Miles returns to his base and meets with Francis and Parker. Upon learning that Spider can breathe without his mask, Parker plans to capture him. The reason is that they could then study Spider and figure out a way for all humans to breathe on Pandora without a mask. At the same time, Norm examines Spider's body and informs Jake that Eywa has altered Spider's body using her power, allowing him to breathe even in this environment. Jake then asks whether Spider can be returned to his original state, because he knows that if Spider falls into the hands of the RDA, they would collect his DNA and reverse engineer it. Jack is fully aware of how catastrophic the consequences could be for Pandora. Max then tells him that Spider is now directly connected to Eywa and is surviving in this way. Trying to return him to his previous form would carry a very high risk of death. Furthermore, Norm removes Spider's hair and shows Jake that his body has developed Kuru like the Na'vi, which even surprises Spider himself. Meanwhile, Kiri once again connects to the Tree of Souls and tries to speak with Eywa. She wants to know why she is different from the other Na'vi and what her true identity is. But just like before, she fails to establish any connection with Eywa. After being disconnected from the Tree of Souls, she suffers a severe seizure. Once she recovers slightly, she asks her family to tell her everything about herself, because Kiri feels that they have been hiding something from her. Neytiri then tells Kiri that she actually has no biological father. She was born without a father from Grace Augustine's avatar, through the blessing of Mother Eywa. However, Norm explains that Kiri's birth was actually pathogenic, and due to the unique nature of her birth, she inherited all of Grace's qualities. Upon learning all of this, Kiri is left deeply astonished. Neytiri's mother, Moat, further explains to Kiri that after Grace's death, when her body was placed before Mother Eywa, she implanted a part of herself into Grace's womb, and from there, Kiri was born. Because of this, everyone believes that Kiri is the child of Mother Eywa. After hearing all this, Kiri goes to her mother, Grace's lifeless body, and becomes deeply saddened. At that moment, Jake comforts her, saying, "No matter who you are, always remember that you have always known me as your real father." Hearing this brings Kiri some relief, but she also feels that if she truly is Eywa's child, then why does Eywa keep sending her back repeatedly? Neytiri reassures Kiri, saying that Mother Eywa must have a special plan behind all of this, and tells her to always keep faith in her. However, Norm advises Kiri not to connect with Eywa again, because if she keeps trying to do so repeatedly, it could eventually cost her life. After that, Norm and Max continue to run further tests on Spider. Neytiri then tells Jake that they should kill Spider, because if he stays alive, he will bring even more danger to them. However, Jake says that together they can protect Spider, and soon they will return to the Water Clan. Meanwhile, Mike is seen boarding a boat once again to hunt Tolkuns, just like last time. However, Dr. Garvin, who is with him, does not approve of Mike's actions. He hunts several Tolkun this way, brings their bodies onto a massive ship, and begins extracting the valuable yellow liquid substance from their brains. After several days, Jake and his family return to the Water Clan. Tonawari then informs Jake about the humans hunting Tolkun. The next day, while Ronald is applying medicine to Neytiri's wound, the two of them got into an argument again. Ronald believes that it is because of Jake's family staying there that humans have targeted their clan. During the heated exchange, Ronald insults Neytiri by calling her a stupid woman. Hearing this, Neytiri becomes extremely angry and warns her that if she doesn't control her tongue, she might forget that Ronald is carrying a baby in her womb. That night, the Tolkun leaders gather to judge Payakan. They accuse him of encouraging their children to fight against humans, which goes against Tolkun law. As punishment, they banish Payakan from their sea territory and order him to go far away. Deeply heartbroken, Payakan begins to leave the place. Loak tries to stop Payakan and protests against the injustice done to him. He says that Payakan fought only to protect his clan and all of them, yet they have ungratefully driven him away. Hearing Loak's words, the Water Clan people become angry with him, and Jake pulls him away from there. Jake then scolds him, saying, "How many times have I told you not to talk back to your elders? Everything Payakan has done will only bring danger upon us, and you are just like him. If you hadn't disobeyed my orders last time, perhaps your brother Nedium would still be alive among us today." Hearing this, Loak feels deeply hurt. He becomes upset with Jake and walks away from there. Jake then comes home disappointed and starts drinking. Neytiri tells Jake to go to Loak and comfort him, since she has already lost a son and doesn't want to lose Loak as well. But Jake tells her that he has nothing to say to him. Hearing this, Neytiri becomes extremely angry with Jake and starts blaming him for keeping Spider with them, as she holds Spider responsible for her eldest son's death. In her anger, Neytiri grabs a knife and decides to kill Spider, but Jake immediately stops her. He then tells her, "Like Spider, I am also a human, and knowing this, you still accepted me into your clan. No matter how long I live with you in this form, I can never hide who I truly am. Besides, our children carry my blood as well. Does that mean you hate me and our children too?" Hearing Jake's words, Neytiri is left stunned and cannot respond. Jake then comforts her and says, "No matter how great the danger is, our family must face it together." Meanwhile, Loak goes to a secluded place with a gun and attempts to take his own life. At that moment, Kiri and Soraya arrive and console him, telling him that they still have faith in him. The next morning, Kiri teaches Spider how to connect his Kuru with a water creature. After learning this, Spider begins to enjoy being underwater much more. On the other hand, Miles and his team capture several Na'vi and try to get information about Spider's location from them. However, they fail to learn anything. So, Miles comes up with a plan and goes alone to the Fire Clan's territory, pretending to surrender. Some Fire Clan soldiers capture Miles and take him to Varang. Miles then pulls several weapons out of his bag, shows them to Varang, and tells her that if she needs more weapons, he can arrange that as well. Varang then tries once again to connect her Kuru with Miles. At that very moment, at Miles's signal, Lyle fires from cover with a sniper and instantly kills a member of the Fire Clan. Impressed once more by Miles's clever move, Varang realizes that Miles is actually one step ahead of her. Varang then takes Miles inside her house and says she wants to examine his soul. She administers a kind of substance through Miles's nose. Shortly after taking it, Miles begins to experience hallucinations. At that moment, Varang starts telling him her backstory. She says that when she was young, the fire from a volcano destroyed everything in their land. Because of that disaster, her people fell into famine and began dying of starvation. But Eywa did not help them in their time of crisis. So, they turned against Eywa and chose the path of fire instead. Now, she wants the same fire that destroyed everything for them to be used to destroy everything of Eywa. Miles then says, "I will give you more weapons to help you accomplish your mission, but in return, you must help me find Spider." Varang agrees to help Miles, and as promised, Miles supplies Varang's soldiers with more weapons, making them even stronger. This eventually leads to a close relationship developing between them. Meanwhile, Soraya comes to Loak and tells him that her Tolkun sister sensed Payakan's sound coming from a distant part of the ocean. Hearing this, Loak wastes no time and, without telling anyone, sets out to find Payakan. After traveling some distance, he gets caught in a fierce ocean storm. Yet, he doesn't give up and continues to push through the massive waves toward Payakan's location. When Sireya tells her brothers about this, they also set off after Loak with their own Tolkuns. On the other hand, Tonawari informs Jake that their children have gone into the middle of the ocean in search of Payakan. Upon hearing this, Jake suggests bringing them back, but Tonawari explains that in this critical situation, it would not be wise to leave the clan and go far away, as humans could attack them at any moment. Besides, their children have now become well adapted to marine life, so when the time comes, they will return safely on their own. Meanwhile, after collecting water from the forest, Spider and Kiri start heading back home when Varang's soldiers block their path. Spider and Kiri try to escape, but during the chase, they get separated. At that moment, Miles catches Spider. Varang then knocks Spider unconscious using her kuru and takes him away. Kiri watches all of this from hiding, then returns home and tells Jake that Spider has been kidnapped. After that, Miles and Varang's soldiers arrive at the Water Clan, and Miles shouts, demanding that Jake come out. Neytiri becomes desperate to fight against Miles. Jake calms her down and says, "The enemies have surrounded us from all sides before we even had time to prepare for battle. If we fight them now, everyone will die." So Jake asks Neytiri to lower her weapon. Meanwhile, seeing that Jake is not coming out, Miles orders his soldiers to set fire to various places in the Water Clan. Jake quickly rushes there, and at his request, Miles stops setting fire to the Water Clan. On Jake's command, the people of the Water Clan lower their weapons, but Neytiri still stands firmly with her weapon in hand. When Miles threatens to attack them again, everyone raises their weapons and prepares to fight. Jake warns Miles, "If you try to attack us again, many of us may die in this battle, but don't think for a moment that you and your new girlfriend will make it out alive." Understanding Jake's warning, Miles withdraws his attack on the Water Clan. Instead, he takes only Jake captive and leaves with him. Neytiri tries desperately to save Jake, but due to the circumstances, she is unable to do anything. Afterwards, Miles brings the captured Jake to their base. At that moment, Spider is seen being taken to the lab for experimentation. Spider sees Jake and tries to talk to him, but before he can, the soldiers lift him into a vehicle. Just then, Frances arrives there. Although she is pleased to see Jake in captivity, she becomes extremely angry upon seeing Varang and orders Miles to kick them out of the base. However, Miles explains to Frances that they will help them in the upcoming battle against the Na'vi. After that, Miles holds Varang's hand and, celebrating their victory, moves forward with the captive Jake. Meanwhile, while searching for Payakan, Loak reaches a part of the ocean. Whenever he dives underwater, several marine predatory creatures called squid ray attack him. Somehow, Loak manages to escape them and enters a coral reef. Just then, two squid rays appear and wrap Loak tightly with their tentacles. When the squid ray in front starts pulling Loak toward itself, Sireya and the Tolkuns accompanying her arrive in time and save him. After a while, when Loak regains consciousness and sees Sireya, he joyfully embraces her. Sireya then tells Loak that they have come very close to Payakan and will be able to meet him very soon. On the other side, the RDA scientists forcibly tie Spider's hands and feet and begin conducting various experiments on him. After experimenting on him for some time, they lock him inside a room. Spider keeps trying different ways to get out of that room. Seeing Spider's frantic behavior, Miles comes over to talk to him. Miles then tries to convince Spider that he is his father, but Spider says that his real father is dead and that he considers only Jake as his father. Miles then takes out a chain from his pocket, shows it to Spider, and says, "Look, I am still that Colonel Miles Quaritch." However, Spider pays no attention to his words. Miles then says, "You saved my life from the sinking ship last time. That's why I am forever grateful to you. You're a very brave boy, and that's why I see myself in you. If your mother were alive today, she would be proud of you." Spider realizes that Miles is trying to use emotional words to bring him over to his side, so he remains silent and gives no reply. Then Spider cleverly asks Miles to give him the chain. Not realizing Spider's true intention, Miles hands over the chain without hesitation and leaves. Later, Using that chain, Spider unscrews the air vent of the room where he is being held and manages to escape through it. Meanwhile, Loak finally reunites with Payakan and is overjoyed to see him again. Payakan then introduces Loak to his other brother, the sole survivor of a human attack that killed all the other Tolkuns of his clan. Though he survived, he was severely wounded by human weapons and blinded in both eyes. At the same time, Mike learns that a spiritual gathering of the Tolkuns will take place in 2 days at a location in the ocean, where nearly all the Tolkuns will be present. Seizing this opportunity, Mike devises a filthy plan to hunt many Tolkun at once, because in this way, he can extract a huge amount of yellow liquid from their brains in a single day and profit enormously. However, Garvin opposes Mike and says, because of your plan, the entire Tolkun species will be wiped out. They are a highly sacred marine life form to the Na'vi. Killing them would mean destroying this planet's marine ecosystem. Despite Garvin's warning, Mike and the others ignore him and proceed with their plan. On the other hand, Neytiri arms herself with various weapons and sets out to rescue Jake. She approaches the human base and kills a few Fire Clan members present there. Then, disguising herself as a Fire Clan fighter, she infiltrates the human base without raising suspicion from the RDA soldiers. Neytiri then stealthily reaches the location where Miles and Varang are staying. When Miles steps outside to drink with the Fire Clan soldiers, Neytiri seizes the opportunity to enter their room, holds a knife to the sleeping Varang's throat, and takes her hostage. She then demands to know from Varang where Jake is being held. At that moment, Miles arrives and spots Neytiri, forcing her to quickly escape from there. Miles and Varang then chase after Neytiri to kill her. Neytiri somehow manages to mount her Banshee and escape from there. On the way, she blasts several oil tanks, setting fire to different parts of the base. However, after flying for some time, Varang comes very close to Neytiri, desperate to kill her. Varang continuously fires at her from behind. Neytiri barely survives the attack and manages to hide in a nearby location. Meanwhile, Jake is seen being held captive inside a glass cage in front of many humans. To rescue him, Spider disguises himself as a normal human and blends into the crowd. At that moment, Garvin arrives, having stolen a huge bulldozer. Before the soldiers can react, he uses the machine to smash the cage and bring Jake out. When the soldiers start shooting to stop them, they manage to escape and hide in a safe place. Garvin then tells Jake that many Tolkuns will be hunted the next day, so he must somehow protect them. After saying this, Garvin quickly flees. At that moment, an aircraft appears, blocking Jake's path and starts firing at him. Under Francis's orders, whenever the pilot tries to kill Jake by launching a missile, Spider steps in front to protect him. Seeing Spider, Parker warns Francis not to shoot him because they still have more experiments to conduct on him. But when Francis notices Spider helping Jake escape, she becomes furious and orders the aircraft pilot to launch a missile to kill them both. At that moment, Neytiri arrives and destroys the aircraft, saving both Jake and Spider. Afterward, the three of them ride the Banshee and fly away, landing in a part of the forest far from the human base. Jake then takes Neytiri a little away from Spider and says, "You were right. We can't keep Spider safe anymore. Sooner or later, he will inevitably fall into the hands of the humans. And if they experiment on Spider and figure out a way to breathe in our environment, they'll wipe out all the plants, animals, and even the Na'vi, just like they did on Earth. And I cannot let that happen under any circumstances. To save Pandora, we have no choice but to kill Spider." But Neytiri tells Jake that Spider saved his life and that she doesn't want Jake to kill him. Ignoring her words, Jake takes a knife from her and leads Spider deeper into the forest. Spider still doesn't understand why Jake is taking him there. Jake then places Spider on an altar, preparing to offer him to Eywa. Meanwhile, thinking of Spider, Neytiri breaks down in tears. Realizing this is wrong, she rushes off to stop Jake. At first, Spider pleads with Jake not to kill him, but once he understands why Jake wants to do it, he accepts his fate and prepares to die. Before finishing him off, he asks Jake one last thing, whether Jake ever loved him. Jake replies that he has always loved him with all his heart. Jake then holds the knife to Spider's throat for a long moment, but eventually, he cannot bring himself to kill him. Overcome with emotion, he embraces Spider. At that moment, Neytiri arrives and is overjoyed to see Spider alive. After that, they decide to find another way to protect Spider, no matter what it takes. Jake then climbs the floating mountains and goes to Toruk's nest, where he meets Toruk after a long time and reconnects with him. After that, Jake rides Toruk back to the Water Clan, where everyone honors him as Toruk Makto. He then instructs Tonawari to gather all the Na'vi clans the next day. Responding to Jake's call, people from various Na'vi clans arrive at the Water Clan riding their mounts the following day. Jake assembles the leaders of all the clans and announces that a great war is coming. To protect Pandora and the existence of the Na'vi, he urges everyone to unite and fight against the humans and the Fire Clan. Agreeing with Jake's words, all the Na'vi then prepare themselves to fight in the upcoming war. After that, Jake meets with the Tolkun leaders and informs them that the humans will soon come to hunt the Tolkuns, and this time they are planning to wipe out all of them. Jake asks the Tolkun leaders to join them in the fight. However, the Tolkun leaders reply that they believe in peace rather than war. At that moment, Loak arrives with Payakan and tries to speak to the Tolkun leaders about him, but since Payakan is an outcast, the leaders refuse to give him a chance to speak. Seeing this, Loak and Soraya rebel and declare, "If Payakan is an outcast, then we will become outcasts too." Hearing this, Jake and Tonawari get into serious trouble because of their children. Eventually, the Tolkun leaders calm down and allow Payakan to speak. Payakan then shows them his injured brother, whose body still has human weapons embedded in it. Loak shouts at them, saying, "If you don't fight back, the humans will destroy the entire Tolkun species." After hearing Loak's words, the Tolkun leaders leave, saying they will discuss the matter and announce their decision later. Meanwhile, Ronal's time for childbirth is drawing near. In despair, she tells Kiri, "I don't think any of us will survive this battle." On the other hand, Jake leaves to fight after entrusting Loak with the responsibility of looking after his siblings. Neytiri then tells Loak, "If your father and I do not return alive, you must take your brother and sisters and get as far away from here as quickly as possible." Soon, the humans approach the Water Clan with their massive warships and aircraft. Jake and all the Na'vi warriors hide in various places, waiting for the right moment to strike. Mike then moves toward their location with a few boats to hunt the Tolkuns. As he gets close, the large Tolkuns led by Payakan attack the human ships from below. One by one, they launch powerful strikes, sinking the ships. At that very moment, Jake and all the Na'vi also ride their mounts and launch an attack on the Sky People. The Water Na'vi continue fighting against the human soldiers in the sea, while the Forest Na'vi carry on battling the soldiers aboard the aircraft. Jake and Neytiri shoot down one aircraft after another with their weapons. At the same time, Tonawari and Ronal attack the ships at sea, killing the soldiers on board. In this way, through a series of powerful assaults, they manage to weaken the humans significantly. But just then, Miles and Varang arrive to fight against the Na'vi with hundreds of Fire Clan fighters. As soon as they reach the battlefield, they begin killing Na'vi fighters with grenade launchers, greatly weakening them. Kiri notices everything from a distance and realizes that they might lose the battle, so she jumps into the water to seek help from Eywa. Spider and Loak also dive in after her to reach Kiri, but at one point, the two of them see several human boats approaching them, so Loak and Soraya tell Spider to go to Kiri, while they stay behind and continue fighting the soldiers on the boats. Meanwhile, Kiri reconnects with the spirit tree and tries once again to communicate with Eywa. Spider joins her to help and, for the first time, enters the spirit world himself. Soon after, Took also connects and arrives there, and the three of them together begin calling out to Mother Eywa. After overcoming many obstacles, they finally reach her, and for the first time, a glimpse of Mother Eywa's form is revealed. Kiri then pleads with her to help them in this battle, but at that exact moment, a missile fired by the humans strikes the spirit tree, causing all three of them to be severed from Mother Eywa. Elsewhere, Ronal is struck by a bullet during the human soldier's attack and is critically wounded. In the sky, as the fight between Neytiri and Varang continues, Varang attacks Neytiri with fire. The flames hit Neytiri's banshee, burning its wings, and Neytiri falls from above. Somehow, she manages to climb out of the water onto land. On the other side, Miles surrounds Jake from all directions with his team. At one point, while trying to block several missiles fired by the Fire Clan fighters, Toruk crashes into a massive rock with Jake on its back. As a result, Jake is injured and falls into the water along with Toruk. However, he manages to get out of the water and contacts Neytiri, telling her that there is no chance of winning this battle anymore, so he urges her to stop fighting and move to a safe place. Meanwhile, Kiri is separated from Spider and Took by the missile's impact and falls unconscious underwater, causing her breathing to slow. Just then, a jellyfish arrives and connects with Kiri's Kuru, helping her breathe and saving her life. On the other hand, Ronald somehow manages to swim close to the shore. Neytiri sees her and quickly pulls her onto land. Ronald's time for childbirth has arrived, but due to her severe injuries, she writhes in intense pain. Neytiri encourages her and helps her through the delivery. After a great struggle, Ronald gives birth to her baby girl. Neytiri hands the child to her, and Ronald holds her daughter for the first and last time. She names her daughter Priel and thanks Neytiri for being by her side during this difficult moment. Then Ronald tells Neytiri to protect her daughter, and right there, she takes her final breath. After Ronald's death, just as Neytiri prepares to leave the area with Ronald's child tied to her chest, Miles and Varang suddenly appear in front of her, holding Took hostage. After that, they capture Neytiri and bring her to their main ship. Varang then begins torturing Neytiri through her Kuru. Jake and Loak witness this from a distance and secretly move toward the ship to rescue Neytiri and Took. Meanwhile, Mike gathers his boats and uses the sonic cannons to bring all the Tolkuns together in one place so he can kill them. Spider and Kiri watch all of this from underwater. Suddenly, they see a massive swarm of squid rays approaching. Spider and Kiri then realize that Eywa has heard their call and has sent help to aid them in the battle. At that moment, a squid ray comes right in front of Kiri. She then commands all the squid rays to attack the sky people and kill them. Thousands of squid rays then swarm in and launch sudden attacks on the human boats, destroying them one by one. Mike watches in horror as the soldiers on his boats are killed by the squid rays, and he orders all his boats to quickly return to the main ship. At the same time, Toruk and several banshees attack the Fire Clan soldiers and begin killing them. At one point, Toruk grabs a massive aircraft and hurls it at the main ship, causing a huge explosion that spreads fire across it. Seeing the situation getting critical, Frances orders the ship's pilot to turn the ship quickly, but the pilot informs her that the ship's propulsion has been destroyed and it can no longer be operated. Meanwhile, as Mike tries to move toward the main ship in his boat, Payakan attacks him and throws him into the water. At that moment, Payakan and his injured brother appear in front of Mike to take their revenge. Mike realizes that although he somehow survived last time, today he has no chance of escape. Payakan's brother then grabs Mike in his mouth and kills him by taking him deep into the ocean. Meanwhile, Jake and Loak make their way to the main ship. When they arrive, they spot Miles and Varang from hiding. Jake then tells Loak to cover him and moves in to rescue Neytiri and Took. At the same time, Spider steps in front of Miles and asks him to release Neytiri and Took in exchange for himself. Miles agrees, and just as he is about to leave with Spider, Jake suddenly attacks Miles' soldiers. Taking advantage of the moment, Loak shoots and kills the Fire Clan soldiers holding Neytiri and Took captive, helping them escape. But then Varang arrives and strikes Neytiri, knocking her to the ground. As Varang is about to kill Neytiri with her knife, Kiri appears from behind and connects her Kuru with Varang's Kuru. As a result, Varang becomes powerless and is unable to attack Kiri. At one point, Kiri disconnects Varang from her Kuru and throws her away, causing Varang to panic and flee. On the other side, Miles tries to escape with Spider on a banshee. Jake mounts a skimwing and attacks Miles to snatch Spider back from him. During their fight, all three of them get separated from their mounts and end up near a powerful oceanic magnetic field called the Flux Devil. As soon as they land there, the metal guns of Miles and Jake are pulled toward the Flux Devil. At the same time, the strong magnetic field begins to pull the humans' main ship toward itself. As a result, Neytiri and her children quickly leave the ship and fly away. However, Frances gets trapped inside the ship, and under the pressure of the magnetic field, the main ship is destroyed, and Francis dies there. Meanwhile, Jake is knocked to the ground and slightly injured when a broken piece of the destroyed main ship crashes into him. Taking advantage of the moment, Miles moves in to attack Jake. Spider rushes over to protect Jake and raises a bow at Miles, threatening to kill him. When Miles tries to snatch the bow from Spider, Spider shoots an arrow that wounds one of Miles's hands. Enraged, Miles pulls the arrow out and continues fighting with Jake. Spider picks up the arrow, reattaches it to the bow, and moves forward again to help Jake. As the fight between Jake and Miles goes on, Spider is suddenly struck and starts falling downward. Miles immediately dives to save him and grabs Spider's hand. Jake then pulls both of them up to safety. Once they're back on top, Miles is surprised that Jake has saved his life despite being his sworn enemy. Soon after, Neytiri and the others arrive. Seeing Miles, Neytiri becomes furious and aims her bow to kill him. Jake stops Neytiri and tells her not to attack Miles. Before anyone can react, Miles jumps off and falls downward toward the burning flames below. Whether he survives or dies remains unknown. From above, Spider and Jake witness his fall and assume that Miles is probably dead. Jake then embraces Neytiri emotionally, and as night passes, a new morning begins. Several days pass, and after a bloody war, peace finally returns to Pandora. Tanawari connects his newly born daughter, Prill, to the spirit tree, and she joyfully experiences the bond. Watching this fills Jake and Neytiri with happiness. Loak is also overjoyed, as Payakan has been accepted back into his clan. Meanwhile, Spider and Kiri connect with the spirit tree and enter the spirit world once more. Upon arriving, they see the spirits of many Na'vi who had died in the past gathered together. Netiam appears and meets Spider, filling him with immense joy. Kiri introduces Spider to her mother, Grace, and she is delighted to meet Spider as well. Kiri then tells Spider, "You are now part of Mother Eywa, so your soul will always live with her." Hearing this, Spider becomes very happy. Afterwards, all the Na'vi present accept Spider as one of their own. And with that, this incredible movie comes to an end. So, what do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe for more awesome content. I'll see you guys next time.